I was looking back and I was like, when was the first time I reached out to Roma? Because I had emailed you to get your birth year for a
Arcane.
program.
That's
Yep, for
right.
Arcanum. Yep, and it was back in January 2020. That's where this all began.
Really
Yes, ma'am.
hard to believe.
Tell us how you came to being in music. What were your earliest experiences with
Right.
music? Yeah, tell us about that.
Um, my father was an Italian, obviously. He was an exceptional violinist and he emigrated to Ireland and met my mother. And of course, they married. They became a duo and they performed all over the world. They were an incredible couple. Um, I started playing at the age of 18 months. And at two and a half, I was already doing children's hour performances, mostly in singing and in piano, but then on to violin, viola, cello, etc., and composition. And I was very, very lucky. I had perfect pitch and it enabled me to think beyond my years, really. I went on then to do cello, majored in cello, piano, but composition. And I was very lucky to have a lot of interactions with composers, adjudicators, and various people who kept in touch with me because they enjoyed what I was doing. I enjoyed it too. Uh, um, my brother is an academic. My sister is a wonderful artist. I have five children. We had six. One unfortunately didn't survive.
Oh, I'm so
I have two
sorry.
professional clarinetists. A professional clarinetist and a Claudine who's a cellist and majors in Baroque cello.
Oh, wow.
I have a son who is the director of Special Olympics. I have a daughter who's an academic in Scotland. She's a terrific professor. And I have a son who's an IT whiz. So that's the family.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
yeah.
Roma,
What a
you
beautiful
are,
variety.
yeah, you are prolific both as a mother and a composer.
Well, I would have done a lot more, to be honest with you, Elizabeth. But my father, a lot of opportunities were offered to me, and my father would not allow me to take them. I was offered full funding for ballet, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and full, complete funding for three or four places in specialist music schools, and he wouldn't let me go.
How come?
Um, he had a, I think he had a view that women were not for the concert platform except as accompanist,
Hmm.
and he wasn't going to have me going away. Also, I think that if he couldn't come with me, he was going to let me go. And of course, no music school is going to let your dad sit in everything you're doing. So I wasn't
Exactly.
allowed to go. And my sister Olivia is a fabulous violinist, and she encouraged me all along. But then she left and she joined the Welsh National Opera. And so I lost her and I didn't have anyone else. And then my father took ill and I had to do all his teaching for him. I married at the age of 19.
Wow.
And by the age of 24, I became very ill. And I had a lot of major surgeries. And that curtailed everything that I wanted to do. So therefore, I took up teaching because I'd done degrees. I did two degrees, and they were external degrees because Papa wouldn't let me go away to do them. But as I say, I took up teaching, but I was good at it, but I didn't like it. And by the age of, I think I was in my early 40s, I was forced to retire completely from life because I
Wow.
was so ill.
Oh my gosh.
And I wrote sporadically. I was always writing, but it wasn't going anywhere. And to me, I just continued on with life as best we could. I was very, very ill, and it didn't look as if I was going to survive. And I did. I bucked the odds, as the saying is. And then it happened to be that I was in Cardiff with my sister, which was unusual for me because I don't travel around much. And she introduced me to Leslie Craven because she said, Roma will write something for you. And Arcanum was born. That was the first one that was done. And it was born within 48 hours.
Oh my gosh.
Wow, that is
48 hours.
amazing.
Yeah. And then from then on, Les then said to me, could you do some more for me? And I did. And he got a couple of other people involved. And that's how it all blossomed. My head is full of it, absolutely full of music. And I go to sleep at night with maybe an idea forming in the head, sleep on it, waking up in the morning, and it's running in front of my head as a full score.
Wow.
I used to sit at the piano and compose because it was song that I was interested in. And I found my hands were going to the cadences that were right for my hands. They were, they were comfortable. And then I said, no, this is not what I'm hearing. So there, I don't write at the piano anymore. I sit with a blank sheet and it starts with a rest or a quaver or something. And then it blossoms. And it seems to be that I see it and I can write it.
So you said, so your father was Italian, and your
Yeah.
your official biography talks about the Italianate influences in your
Yes.
music. And is that really rhythmic, or is it both rhythmic and harmonic where we see that
But
Italianate influence?
I wrote down here what my mum said, and she always said it was an innate memory. It was like an innate memory of Italian and Irish heritage, and it was evident in the music. It was like a fusion of progressions and chordings that hopefully it had a unique fingerprint because it's incorporating the Italian and the Celtic,
Mm-hmm.
and there are times when it's terribly Celtic. I mean, my maternal grandmother was the most phenomenal musician I've ever met. Ella, she had the ability to sit down and transcribe anything from the air, literally. And I used to watch her. She would be my main influence. I watched her upside down because she was writing at one side of the table and I was at the other side. So I have this great ability to be able to read music upside down. You're not going to believe it, but there's a hell of a lot more.